I have to ask you about this. I heard this story about you were snow goose hunting, and the game warden or something showed up at your guys' cabin, and I heard this rumor you did like the gnarliest thing that I laugh at every time. You know what story I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I got to hear it. You got to share that.
So we're in Arkansas snow goose hunting.
Yeah.
We had like 1 day left to hunt, whatever. We had shot a bunch of birds the day before. Cleaned like probably half of them, filled our coolers full.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to take the rest back whole because, I mean, it's cold out. And
Right.
It's wintertime in Minnesota, so
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about it. And so we went out, did the morning's hunt, and on our way back to this little cabin we're staying in that, like, doesn't have electricity, doesn't have a bathroom. It's just a place to crash. We got a grill there, whatever.
It's a snow goose camp.
Yeah. I mean, it's my kind of place.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a phone call from a guy that I used to guide with a few years back, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, we just got done hunting, we're heading back to camp. He's like, well, I'm just going to let you know, I just drove by your place, and there's a game warden truck there, and they're walking around looking at all your birds.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, right.
That's never good,
Even if you're completely legal, dude, it still gives
yeah,
you a weird
your
vibe.
Your heart drops in your stomach, and you're like, oh
my God.
Now what?
Right.
And so I was with some guys, a couple guys from Arkansas, a couple guys from up here in Minnesota, and I'm like, here's the deal. When we get back there, they're going to split us all up.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to want to know who's in charge of this, what's going on, and what we shot and what the deal is with these birds.
Yep.
So I'm like, tell them what we shot every day. I mean, we didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But I'm just letting you know, when they split us up, if there is something wrong, they're going to try to be like, hey, if you say something or you do, whatever, we'll let you out. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. They'll come back and be like, this guy told on you, Brian. He said it was all you. Yeah,
so it was good that we just didn't roll up and unexpectedly run into him there. I had a heads up or whatever. So I get there, we roll in or whatever, and there's two game wardens there. One guy's wearing game warden clothes, another guy has office clothes on. I walk up and I'm like, is there a problem?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, all these unclean birds right here, they're bad. It's wanton waste. And I'm like, well, those are from yesterday. We're taking them home with us this afternoon. We go back to Minnesota.
Right. We're going to keep them whole.
He's like, well, you can't let them sit like that. They're bad. And I'm like, no, they're not.
Right.
I'm like, there's nothing wrong with them. It's 40 degrees outside,
Right.
And sat there and argued about it. And he's like, we're going to have to agree to disagree. And I'm like, yeah, I guess we are,
right,
you know? And he's like, I want you to walk over here to the back of my truck. I'm like, all right. And there's like 8 of us there. So there's a bunch of people around.
Right.
I walk over there. Guy's got 5 snow geese laid out on the tailgate of his truck. Got the breasts all ripped open. And he points to the middle one that's been like gut shot,
Yep.
He's like, here.
Never good.
Smell that goose right there. Tell me that doesn't smell bad. And I'm like, I'm not going to smell that goose.
Yeah, it's gut shot.
It's been gut. I'm like, what do you think it smells like?
Yeah, exactly.
And he shakes his head or whatever. And I said, is it all right if I go get my fillet knife?
Right.
He goes, yeah, go ahead. So I walked over, grabbed my fillet knife, filleted off a piece of breast meat for him. I'm like, here, held it up to his face. I'm like, here, smell that. Tell me it's bad.
Yeah.
He's like, yep, smells bad to me. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. And at this point, I'm not happy.
Yeah,
I'm getting
irritated.
I'm getting upset.
Right,
I don't deal with these situations well. And I'm like, there's nothing fucking wrong with this piece of meat. And he's like, it's bad. And I'm like, I'll eat a piece of it right now.
A piece of raw goose meat.
And he looks me in the face. He goes, no, you won't. And I'm like, oh, yeah? And I take it, and I just took a big bite of it, chewed it up, swallowed it. And the guy he didn't know what to say.
What do you say? Yeah.
Staring me down and
call his bluff on that.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone else too is like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, right. Holy shit.
But did I die? No, I'm still here.
No, yeah. So it was good then.
And so when I did that, the guy in the office clothes that was on the other side of the truck, he's like, "Sir, you need to back away from that knife. You're making me nervous."
What?
And I'm like,
I just asked this guy if I could.
yeah, I'm like, I go, "Are you talking to me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you guys have guns. Like, I'm just standing here.
Right.
He's like, well, you need to come over here and talk to me.
Right.
I'm like, all right. So I walk over there. He's like, "Sir, you got a bad attitude, and I don't want something bad to happen to you." And then I lost my shit. I mean, I completely lost my shit because all these people are standing around. And I'm like, what did you say to me? I'm like, are you threatening me?
Yeah,
I'm like, you don't want something bad to happen to me?
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I caused a giant scene because, obviously I was upset. I thought they were just screwing with us. And the other game warden grabbed that guy and they walked away. He's like, we need to talk. They walked like 20 feet away. Had a discussion for like a minute, and the guy in the game warden clothes turned around. He's like, "You guys have a safe trip back to Minnesota," and they left.
And they took off.
So
I thought, dude, I heard that story, and I was like, "There's no way he took a bite of raw snow goose meat just to prove that it wasn't bad."
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, back then I was chewing. I had a big old Copenhagen in, so I mean,
right. You've had grosser things.
Yeah,
grosser tasting things in your mouth.
Yeah, so it wasn't bad, but yeah, it was quite the fiasco.
That's too funny, dude. I bet they went back like, dude, the guy just took a bite out of a raw snow goose. I mean, he's kind of got his corner here. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
I feel like I'm not sure because I'm trying to remember all the details, but I feel like the guy in the actual game warden clothes did say something like, "You guys need to thank your buddy over here," or something like that.
Oh,
you know?
really? Yeah. He really stepped up to the plate. That's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe I did that either, but...
That's nuts. You had another crazy thing happen to you, because you fish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you went like sockeye fishing or something, or salmon fishing somewhere this last week, and I seen it on your Snapchat.
Only in Wisconsin. That's all I got to say.
All right. So, yeah.
My dad likes to go salmon fishing.
Right.
So he been begging me to go over. He knows a buddy that's got a charter boat or whatever.
Sure.
And so we ran over there to fish Saturday afternoon or whatever.
Okay.
And we go out fishing, catch some fish, everything's good. We're like, we had a hotel room.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go out to the bar and have a few drinks, whatever. And we go to the first bar, have a few drinks, nothing's really going on there. I asked the guy, is there some more bars around here? He's like, yeah, just, go over the bridge, cross the river there. There's like 4 more bars. I'm like, sweet, sounds good. So me and my buddy Joe take off, start walking, and the rest of the guys are behind us. And, I mean, we've been drinking all day.
Right, yeah.
I get up on this. It's a lift bridge, so it, like, lifts up. And I get up on the edge of the bridge, and I look over, and there's a guy swimming in the river. And it's like...
Underneath the bridge?
Well, right off to the side, And it's like midnight. And I'm
right. That's not safe.
Yeah, I'm like... What is this guy doing? And it doesn't have like a normal shoreline. There's like pilings or like pier along the edges because it's all deep,
Yeah.
So there's like steel lining the edge, and I look over at my buddy Joe, and I'm like, "What's this guy doing?"
Yeah, right.
He's like, "What guy?" And I'm like, "This guy in the river down here."
And this is all while you're waiting for the bridge to come back down?
Well, no, it was closed. We were just walking across to go to the bar.
Oh, and he noticed him. Was he yelling or something?
Yeah, we heard a noise down there, and I heard some splashing around, and I'm like, all right, maybe it's just, I thought it was like a guy and maybe some buddies, they're, who knows?
Right.
And he's like, hey, can I get some help down here? I'm like, what? He's like, I can't get out.
Oh, no.
And by that time, the rest of the guys had almost caught up, and they seen what was going on, and my dad and a couple of us run down there or whatever, and we pull him out of the river, and...
You pulled him out of the river?
Pull him up out of the river, grab his hands, pull him up. His pants are down around his ankles. And we're like,
Was his boxers on? Or
his,
just
yeah,
full glory?
thankfully his boxers were
right,
on.
Right.
And we're like, dude, are you all right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. And we're like, how'd you get in the river?
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
He's like, I don't know. I don't know how I ended up in the river. Like, were you trying to, like, take a piss and you fell in? Or
yeah.
whatever. And, I mean, he was messed up. He couldn't stand up straight.
Really?
And we're like,
probably more on other things than alcohol.
Yeah, we're like, actually, one of the guys like, you on mushrooms or something? He's like, what, mushrooms? Yeah. He got all perked up.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, yeah. This
dude's,
he's fucked up.
There it is.
And, yeah, so we're like, what are we going to do with this guy? He can't even stand. We can't leave him next to the river. He's going to fall back in and drown.
Right.
And so we sit there, and somehow his pants are down around his ankles. So we pull his tennis shoes, his socks off, help him get his pants off so he can put them back on.
Right.
And his cell phone's still in the pocket of his pants.
No way.
And it still works.
Really?
So we pull it out, and we're like, dude, can we call somebody for you or whatever? And
come get you.
he's like, I don't know, and
Like, otherwise, next stop is the police.
Wow.
Because we're sick and tired of fucking waiting here, dude.
This goes on for like 15 minutes, and I told my buddy Joe, I'm like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, right.
Like, let's go
Push
to the
him
bar.
back in the river.
Yeah. Because the guy was like,
let's get out of here.
He was like, 1 second he was thankful, and the next second he was like getting defensive and stuff. And it's
really?
like, dude, we could have just left your ass in the river,
what
you
the
know?
hell? Let's figure this out.
And so me and Joe walk up on the bridge, and perfect timing. Here comes a cop car.
Sweet.
And I flag him down. He pulls up, and he's like, is something wrong? Can I help you?
Yep.
And I'm like, man, I'm just letting you know. We just pulled this kid out of the river down here, and he's like messed up on drugs or something.
Right.
He's like, the river right here? And I'm like, yeah, a couple of my buddies are still down there standing with him or whatever. And so we sent him down there, and he took, like, 3 cops showed up, and
really?
I don't know what they did with him. I was like, I'm out of here.
I mean, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, if he's already got the drugs in him, if he doesn't got it in his pockets or anything, all you can do is bring him to jail or the drunk tank and be like, sober up, dumbass.
They said they weren't gonna arrest him or whatever. So I suppose they can't really, but they were questioning him too, like, dude, how did you end up in the river? Like,
and he really had no idea.
No idea, no clue at all.
Jesus, dude.
I'm like, oh, what else is gonna happen tonight?
Yeah, right. No shit. God, yeah, that's a good fishing story there.
Yeah.
Doesn't even involve any fish.
Well,
except for him, I guess.
My dad and them were over there 2 years ago, and while they were out fishing, while they were gone fishing, they're staying in a hotel room. They come back, there's all these cops in the parking lot, and here a dude had crashed his car into my dad and them's hotel room. Smashed the whole wall and the door in.
Oh, no.
And they're like, what's going on here? Well, here's a guy who was mad at his girlfriend, and she was staying in the hotel, but she was staying in the room next door.
And he hit the wrong one. Couldn't really add it up. Right, room 3 should be these windows. Well, at least your dad wasn't laying in bed.
No, they were gone or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, he was like, he's like, this place is crazy.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if we're coming back. No, we're coming back.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're definitely coming back to that. That's freaking nuts. I've never really had anything like that on like a hunting trip or anything. Like, anything too crazy happen. I'm trying to think. I mean, sometimes a lot of shit just blends together.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure there's been some wild things, but yeah, nothing like super destructive or anything like that has happened.